Hello and welcome to this video. Today I'm just going to show you how I put this composite together. I'm not going to go through all the technical details, but just really how many layers were used and how they're all stacked on top of each other. You can ask questions, just drop me an email or do a comment on the blog if there are any specific details you wish to know a little bit more about. All I'm going to show you is how I got the final image. So I'm just going to go over to my layers panel here, and holding down the Alt key and clicking on the bottom eye, that takes me right back to the first image before I did anything at all. So this is just a street in London I took a photograph of, and what I've done to it, as you can see in the second layer, I've changed it to a HDR style photograph. I've added a high pass filter to sharpen it up to get the details on it, and also I used a black and white adjustment layer and changed the blend mode to soft light, and that's how I've sort of got this sort of effect here. The next layer shows you how I've sort of darkened around the areas and added a little bit of an orange glow to it, and all that was by just basically doing another layer, and it was a multiply blend mode to get the darkening down, and I've reduced it down to 69%, and the actual orange glow sort of came out naturally through changing it to a multiply layer. Next I've added some snow. This was just from a stock image I had of some snow taken up on the downs some time ago. I've duplicated this layer and changed the blend mode to soft light. I've then done some dodging and burning, just to dodge and burn down some areas around here. Next I've taken an image of a fireplace and just added that behind the windows. And how I've done that, if I go to this layer here, which I've done, and by holding down if I go to the layer mask there, holding down the shift key and clicking into there, that turns that layer off, so you can actually see the picture that was brought in. I reduced the opacity down to 65%, but if I take that back up, you can see there's the original image. So again, holding the shift key down, click into there, you can see that I've put it back by adding the layer mask and then painting in black. So holding the Alt key down and clicking back into there, you can see how I actually brought that back. So this has taken all the picture of the fire and the fireplace, painted over black to conceal it all, and on the edges of the window frame here as well. So that's how I did that. Again, holding the Alt key, clicking into the layer mask, that just brings the picture whole back. And then again, across to the other side, I've had the Christmas tree, and again I'm going to just hold the shift key down in the last mask to show you the actual picture itself that I used, and then the Alt key into the layer mask, and there I've just painted out the picture of the fire and just left the Christmas tree, and then painted back in the window frame. And that's how I got that image. Just going back to that one again, I felt that was a little bit too bright on that one, so I did reduce the opacity down to about 65%, just allowing a little bit more of the reflection from the window to show through. So that sort of gives that feeling of glass there. This side here I didn't do it so much because unfortunately there was quite a reflection in the window, as you can see there, with a hotel building across the road, so I just sort of brought that right up to 100%. But looking now, I could actually take that down just a little bit, so I'm just going to take that down to about 87. Okay, next layer was here. I'd removed the door, which I'm going to show you later on in the layer stack where I brought it back in. So all it is just a black hole leading down into the corridor. So I've added some layers to this. I've just added an empty layer and filled that with a white brush, just painted in white just to get that glow. And then again, I've done it around the windows, but this time I painted with an orange glow, just to sort of get the feeling of that warmth from the house coming round to the outside, because it was sort of too white and cold. So I've just warmed that up a little bit. And then carrying on with the behind the door, I've added a yellow glow to that. Then I added some sort of Christmassy lights, which a lot of it will be obliterated by the door, but just the feel coming through is quite nice, so it's going to add to the picture. Same with the Christmas tree again, and then there's the door added. Just quickly to show you how I sort of got the door to look like it's opening. If I go back down to the bottom layer, and again holding the Alt key, clicking on the eye, that takes us back to the bottom layer. So what I basically did was just got the rectangular marquee tool, and I just did a selection of the door. And there we go. Again, if you're doing it, just take a little bit more time than I am. This is only just for this video, just to quickly show you how to do it. Once I've got a selection, all I do is Command J just to duplicate the door, and then Command T is going to transform it. What I'm going to do now is it's going to open this way, so I'm just going to bring this back in, and I'm going to just get rid of the layer beneath so you can actually just see the doors. So there's the door I've just narrowed down. So going back to the door, Command T again, right click, and then you get some options here: scale, rotate, skew, distort, perspective and warp. I'm going for the perspective on this one, so I've just clicked on perspective and taking the top handle here and dragging down. It's going to drag both the bottom upwards and the top down, and then that gives a feeling that the door is actually opening inwards. So basically that's all I did to get that door that I'm going to show you in a moment. So just bringing these back, I'm just going to delete that door there and just go back up through the steps again till we get to the door, and then the door's been put in. I would darken this bottom down quite a lot if I was going to just have it like that, because it just looks like it's floating at the moment, but I'm going to put quite a few little bits and pieces down here to sort of disguise that. I put a glow around the door to get the feeling of that warmth and stuff sort of creeping around the edge of the door there. Next thing I added some icicles, and these are along the bottom of the window ledge here, and a bit more door glow. And then I felt that the door didn't have an edge to it, so basically by taking a slither of the door here, again transforming, duplicating it, transforming it, and then sort of moving it across, I've just put the door edge in there, so you can see at the top here, by just zoom in, how I've actually put an edge to the door. Let's go back out again. Next I added a wreath to the door, put a bit of colour to that just to sort of get a bit of the glow coming through, and then because it looks like you're just sitting, it's floating there, I've put a shadow around the wreath, and I've also brought some shadow in here, so where the light's not actually hitting the wall there, so I've just added some shadow there, and then I've added a bit of warm glow coming again from the windows round onto this wall here. Let's just move my layers up again. And I've had a present down onto the doorstep, and again it's just sort of floating there a little bit, so what I did then was just put a shadow around it just so it sort of looks a little bit like it's sitting there, and again I added a few more presents, shadows around those, and then we did a bit more door edge glow, this time down this side here, just where the crack of the door is, and I felt that was okay, but it would probably spill more onto this masonry work here, so what I've done then is I've just put a little bit more of a glow coming out onto that wall there. Next thing, a photograph of a little toy I had, a bear, I added that to it, and then I just darkened the edges down where it's going to be in the shadow, where the light's not going to, and all that was duplicated it and changed the blend mode to multiply, and then using the layer mask painted back into the bright bits which I wanted, and then again added a shadow. And how I do the shadow, I just add a blank layer, and then get in a black brush with a low opacity, soft edge brush, and just paint behind and gradually build it up, the darker closer to the actual object, and then sort of more of a shadow as it goes away. Next thing I did, I added some snow onto the windowsills here, and basically I just got the lasso tool on a blank layer, drew a shape that I quite liked, then filled it with a light blue, and then I got the dodge and burn tool, and I just burned in some shadows, and then got the dodge tool just to sort of brighten some areas, so it gives that feeling of sort of snow. Again, it's too blue sitting against there, so what I did next, got a hue saturation layer, and I just warmed that up so it feels like the glow coming from the window. I duplicated that and put it across to the other side here, and again the hue and saturation just to warm that up. Added another toy just sitting on the wall there, and again darkened the edges using a multiply blend mode. Darkened the edges around the back and painted back using. I actually used a gradient here and just dragged the dark across onto it. Next I just added a little smile onto the monkey, and then a shadow where the monkey's sitting. So just added a shadow around there, it's just again so it's not just sort of floating in the air. Then I added some frost to the windows around here just to make them look a little bit cold and got the feeling of winter. I just used a brush there with a textured brush and just painted in around these windows here just to give that idea of frost. I only kept them to the bottom windows because where the heat rises in the house, I thought these top ones may not have the frost, and it just sort of gives that feeling of it being cold. So that's what I did on that little area there. Next I added a Winnie the Pooh, which I had a little toy at home in a Santa's kit, so I took a photograph of that, cut him out and added him there. Again, he looks like he's floating a bit there, so what I did, I put some shadows around him just to sort of sit him down onto the ground, so to say, and then I did a bit of dodge and burning on the actual Winnie the Pooh there itself, just to sort of highlight these bright areas where the light might sort of come round and bounce on there. Again, when I took this picture, I made sure I had my flash about here shining down onto him, so it's almost where I thought that the door light would be coming from. I put a little fairy in up here, which the monkey's looking up towards, and then I started adding some actual snow falling. I've got some brushes, you can download them off the internet, they are free. Just type in snow brushes, and then all you do then is just reduce the size of your brush, so you start with small ones and then just build up the sort of feeling of snow. I've got some bigger ones here, so they're obviously going to be closer to you, and then I just sort of added more snow. You can see I've just sort of put it very light down here because I didn't want to obliterate these toys, so that's fairly light. The next thing I did, I went and added a selective colour layer just to warm the whole thing up. So as you can see, that's really sort of got that really warm and welcoming feeling is what I was looking for, and added some larger snow, which obviously were really close up to the camera, so they gave that real feeling, that feeling of depth. And then I basically combined all these layers together, but before that I just reduced a little bit of the snow out. I felt it was a little bit too much and obliterating too much of the details in the windows, so I did that as I added this extra layer. And then the final layer, I just went my Colour Efex Pro 4 filter and just brought out the details. I darkened down the top area where the light wasn't going to be hitting so much, and then using the layer mask I just painted back. If I hold down the Alt key and go into the layer mask again, you can see there. And if I hold the Shift key, I'm going to just take them out. And really it was just to bring that nice golden light coming round from the door that was lost when I added the Colour Efex Pro 4 filter. So that was it really. That's the final image and all these steps I got to get there. So again, I'll just show you my start image, which was just the door, the street in London, and then all these additional bits added together just to get this composite together, just for this nice Christmassy sort of feeling that I was looking for. Again, thanks very much for watching. If you have any questions, please just either send me an email or leave any comments on the blog. Catch you next time.